Good morning, students. A very, very warm welcome to yet another interesting session of the BOS classes by ICAI. Today, we are doing paper 2, section B, business correspondence and reporting. And the topic for discussion today is article writing. And just to let you know, article writing is one of my favorite topics because there is so much freehand. You can write about anything you wish to. There are less restrictions, less kind of a template, like we have in note making, like we have in Pressy, like we have in summary writing. Article is more personal. You can write about just anything, just express yourself in every which way, explore your language, improve your vocabulary, and so many things can be played around in an article. So this is something I really enjoy doing, and I hope all of you also will enjoy article writing. So let's see how many of you have joined. I can see Harshita is here. Good morning, Harshita, Hannah, Amit, Mr. Om is always in time. Good morning, Uday. Good morning, Pranati, Nazia, Akriti. Okay. Sushyang is here. Priyadarshini and Sneha are here. And Pavitra Vanshalini is here. Okay, wait, great. So nice to have you all in class back. I hope the sessions have been going fruitful. You can give me a thumbs up if you've been enjoying the session. You can put a small feedback about the classes. You can tell us how the classes have been going. You can tell us about what you feel when you're doing these live learning classes, how we can make them even more better. I hope we are able to resolve your doubts. I hope we are able to bring you to a place, to a situation where the topics are quite clear, and when you appear for the BCR paper, you appear with more confidence and more perseverance and more interest. So I assume that, things are going in a positive path and everything is quite smooth as of now. For any doubts, last time I told you there are frequently asked queries. That's a tab on the portal. In the app, the BOS app, there is another section, Ask a Query. So the query comes to us. You can mostly ask queries related to the subject, any question, any particular answer. Any other queries about your study material, about exams, you can have a look at the website. Everything keeps appearing. The batches, new batches, issue of study material, everything comes there. Okay. So I think from our end, we've tried to make everything very streamlined. Aapko sab kuch time pe milta rahe, pata chalta rahe. Even then, if there is a lack, then you can please contact us and make sure all your doubts are clear. Okay. So let's start with this very interesting session. Now, first thing I want to ask all of you, how many of you have been into writing? Don't say ki 6th mein likha tha, 5th mein likha tha, 3rd mein likha tha, nursery mein likha tha. No. Somebody who has been often writing, you are a consistent writer, you are a regular writer, you enjoy taking up the pen and penning down your thoughts. You visit a particular place, you want to come down home and write something. So it's kind of maybe diary writing, maybe blog writing, anything which you think you have been doing, which relates to just expressing yourself. Okay. So please quickly tell me, good morning, all of you. So many good mornings. Thank you so much. It gives you such a nice feeling when you see students with so much energy in class. There is, these are these positive vibes. Everybody's giving me like loads and loads of thumbs up. Thank you guys. Thanks for all that encouragement. Thanks for showing all that enthusiasm. I'm sure you all are a very strong and a very active batch. And soon I'll be discussing things with you as accomplished CAs. Once you can join, that's not an issue. You always have the facility to see the videos later, but I request you please keep joining all classes regularly, because if you're joining a part 2 and you've missed a part 1, things won't be that clear. Thank you so much, Harshita, Aditi. Great. Vidipta is saying crystal clear. Wonderful. That's an alliteration. C and C. Great, Anjali. Oh, Janvi, why are you having a lot of backlogs? Please, just sit once. Take all the past sessions, finish them once and for all. Don't keep any backlogs. They are really disturbing. Thank you so much, Sadab. Thanks so much. I am Suparva. Okay, Suprava Bhattacharya. Good morning. Vaidehi, you don't have to write. You have to force yourself to write. Okay. Okay, Deepika writes diaries and Nikita writes short stories. Very good. Sanjana writes journals. Wonderful. Sneha is saying she's a writer. Okay, Dolly says it's dependent upon her mood. If she feels like writing, she does. Very good. Okay, Nikita. Very good. So Bidipta is one of the daily writers we have in class, and Apurva is somebody who's writing fiction, thoughts, and travelogues. Awesome. Okay. Hi, Rohit. Hi, Shanti. Hi, Pooja. Okay. Thanks, Anant. Good morning, Uday. Okay. Om, Mr. Om, you write. Okay. Very good. Great. Thanks, Neha. So I'm getting like 100 on 100 and you're making my day in spite of the heat, in spite of the humid weather. I'm feeling excited by when I hear students saying that you enjoy the classes and everything is quite crystal clear to you and you look forward to a class where we are discussing all these BCR topics. Thank you so much, everybody. You can put that as a feedback also. It will help me improve and help me stay even more encouraged when I further take your classes. Okay, so on that note, good. I hear you writing. Now, it's a simple request. Whenever you want to practice something, you always have to write. Okay, whether it's maths, I've seen people doing maths orally. You can't just revise questions in your mind. You can't do Pythagoras theorem in your mind. You can't do a derivation in your mind, whether it comes to a physics numerical or a chemistry numerical. Similarly, a question on accounts, you can't make a full balance sheet in your mind. It has to be a pen and a paper. Okay. Now, above all this, I want to say that please avoid typing. It's a good way. I know things are improving. We are moving ahead in science and technology, right from having the Google Bard to having Chat GPT. Everything is becoming so mechanized and so technologically dependent. But honestly, when you hold a pen or a pencil in paper and then you put down your thoughts, it's just different. It's a completely out of the box feeling. You feel so connected with your ideas. So everybody who's writing, who just now said you write, I request you, please maintain that habit. It's a very good passion. I'm so glad you guys are writing. And those who are not, please try to force yourself to write. What happens is when you don't write, your thoughts fail to get expressed. And in doing so, it becomes very difficult to express whenever you want to. Okay. So for that reason, I'm saying, please write on different topics. What are you feeling today? How is the weather today? Why do you want to attend a particular match? Why do you want to see the match? Like yesterday, day before yesterday, we had this wonderful Wimbledon final between Alcaraz. I am sorry, I can't pronounce that word, and Djokovic. So what was good about it? Express anything. And that's the key for writing an article. So I'm just telling you that for doing an article writing, you don't have to sit with rules. You don't have to sit with templates. You have to just write. And then once you start writing, you can obviously come back to the ICI study material and you can see what all rules I have to follow because it's an exam-based question. Okay. Hi, Vaidehi, new one. It's okay. Okay. Akash saying I write jokes. So you can also be a parallel stand-up comedian, a CA plus a stand-up comedian. Good morning, Akshita, Shamya, and Juhi. Okay, Abhishek writes poems. Very good. That's awesome. Okay, please take care, Mrs. Ashwani. Roshan, again, all this can be understood from the ICI website. You can have a look at the portal. All those will be cleared there. Yeah, Alcaraz. Thanks, Savio de Mello. Thank you so much. Carlos Alcaraz. Haha, that's wonderful. Nikita, that's a good thought. Okay, so whether writing takes time, but who is in a hurry? What is the hurry you have? What else are you doing? You're just studying. And if you want to focus on your writing, then you have to write. You cannot type. Typing doesn't give you that feeling because you're not feeling close to words. You're just following a brainly or a grammarly or a chat GPT. Everything is very mechanized. So you have to write, which is bringing you closer. Your emotions are coming out to be closer. Okay. Okay, the next is paper has more patience than people, computers, Helen. Yes, Helen Keller has said that very well. Very good. Awesome, Sahib Khan. So if I have students in class whose papers have been published in a newspaper, whose articles have been published in newspapers, I think you are amazing writers. Very good. Great. So exploring mysterious things, Neha, very good. So I hope you write something about maybe the Bermuda Triangle. How can I join your classes? You've already joined the class. You are in the class. See, Dolly, right now we're going to discuss writing in English because that's the whole discussion, right? So a BCR paper cannot happen in any other language. It has to happen in English. So I'm going to discuss only English related writing. If you are a writer, otherwise, you can obviously hone your writing skills for a regional language or for your mother tongue, and then you can just take that forward later. Okay. So on that very positive note, I'm so excited. Many of you are writing. You're writing about stories, poems, travelogues, narratives, journals, diary entries, everything. So that's going to be interesting. Very good. Vaidehi, we are yet to start the chapter. So once you start seeing the slides, I think that will be good enough practice for you to understand what the chapter is about. Okay. So I'll start my screen share and you will get to know what exactly article writing is. So that's the first slide, the introduction slide. And here we come to what is article writing. So article is basically a piece of writing which is written for a larger audience. So I don't write articles for myself. If I'm writing for myself, I rather make it a compilation of, let's say, journals, or I rather make it a diary entry. But if I want a larger audience to read, then I definitely have to write a article. Okay. And very importantly, articles have to be published. Any source of publication, it can be magazines, newspapers, daily, weeklies, school magazines, but whenever it is published, we call it like a proper article. So please understand why we call it article writing and what are the musts for an article writing. Now, what exactly is an article? That's what we're going to discuss. So an article is more about what you feel for a certain topic. Okay, for example, I'm not happy with the condition of roads in my city because there is so much of waterlogging happening. The moment there is an hour of rain, there is waterlogging and the traffic gets jammed. There is a complete blockage and I'm on the roads for like 2 hours and 3 hours. And I want to express this. So I'll put that as an idea or a thought or a suggestion or a feedback about the situation of roads in my city. That can be an article. I want to write about let's say, the wonderful win which Carlos, let me check. I think I had the name here. I don't know why I tend to forget. Okay, Savio had mentioned, I like to write about what Carlos Alcaraz, how he won. So I'm going to express it, all the beautiful thoughts, and I'm going to praise his Wimbledon victory. That can be an article. I want to write about the new scheme of education. That can be an article. I want to write about how these live classes by the Board of Studies, ICAI, are going to help me. I want to influence my juniors. I want to tell people to take up CA. I'm going to write an article. So I'm giving you various topics about where you can write an article, and they can be published in a very small local newspaper, at the regional level, at the state level, at the national level, at the international level, any which way. Even if your article is getting published in your school magazine, college magazine, society magazine, locality magazine, it is good enough. Okay. The topics can be varied. That's the best part about article writing. आपको किसी भी topic पे लिखने का मन है. I've given you some examples: history, geography, sports, etc. They become an article. Last of all, What students write is more about general issues, day-to-day issues, civilian issues. Okay, some very important controversial topics. Let's say having a uniform civil code, something about a trending topic like the LGBTQ community. So there are some newer topics, inclusivity, body shaming. These are those very sensitive topics which these days I'm seeing students are addressing, the youth of the country is addressing. So when you write on a sensitive topic, make sure you're not hurting anybody's sentiments and you're writing within a certain set of decent limits. When you write about a feedback, you don't have to be very, very rude. You don't have to be very, very aggressive if you don't like it. If you're writing about a day-to-day concern, maybe a societal issue like scarcity of water, or maybe a broader global issue like global warming, then you have to quote facts. So it always depends what is your topic, how should you address it, whom do you want to share the topic with, what are the results you are expecting, and what are you writing for? Are you writing to inform? Are you writing to influence? Are you writing to preach? Are you writing to teach? Are you writing to create awareness? Or are you writing for pleasure? Okay. Remember when we started the class, we once did why do we write? And we did all these verbs कि हम लिखते क्यों हैं? हम किसी को बताने के लिए लिखते हैं, हम किसी तक कोई बात पहुंचाने के लिए लिखते हैं, हम किसी को कुछ पढ़ाने के लिए लिखते हैं, हम किसी को कुछ समझाने के लिए लिखते हैं, हम अपनी आवाज उठाने के लिए लिखते हैं. सो देयर आर वेरियस रीजंस व्हाई यू आर राइटिंग. उसको ध्यान में रखते हुए इफ यू पुट योर एक्सप्रेशंस इन द आर्टिकल, your article comes out to be the best. Okay, so know the purpose, know the reason, know the audience, and then write. Fine. Right. Okay, so on that note, I'll just have a look at the queries. Ishika, I've said so many things. You can listen to the lecture again because I don't know from where you were having network issues. तो बहुत कुछ discuss हो गया है अभी. Okay, great. So all is okay till now. Everybody is clear. You've understood what I want to say. You've understood the importance of article writing. It's something which can do wonders. You can create history by writing strong articles. You can bring out a big change by writing articles. It's just like articles of constitution. एक article आता है कितना बड़ा change ले आता है. It's just like that. ठीक है? Sidra Fatima, email writing is a different topic, my dear. We'll do that when we discuss email writing. आज हम दूसरा topic नहीं discuss कर सकते. Okay, thanks Vaidehi and Mansi. Good morning, Jia. Okay, thanks Ruhani. Great. Okay, now just to ask you a question, all of you, I'm not changing my slide. All of you, give me one topic which you would like to write upon, or which you generally like to write upon. Some topic which is your favorite. You can be very specific with the topic, or you can tell me a broader, like I would like to write sports related articles, I would like to write politics related articles. ऐसा भी बता सकते हो. और कोई specific sport है, जैसे मुझे क्रिकेट पे ही लिखना अच्छा लगता है, मुझे प्रो कबड्डी लीग पे अच्छा लगता है. Whatever you want to write on COVID, you want to write about the effects of global warming, the effects of ozone layer depletion. You want to write about glacier melting. You want to write about infrastructure in your country, etc. Give me one topic which you all individually would like to write upon. Quickly, I'm waiting for your answer. Word limit is given in the question, Jia. Okay, where he says she wants to write about COVID-19, interesting. Apurva likes to write about nature, okay. Priyadarshini says about her school. Sanjana says politics and environmental concerns, wonderful. Dolly says AI impact on human, great. Ruhani, societal development related articles. Ishika also wants to write about environment. Janani on general issues. Vansh on parents' efforts. Okay. Interesting. Varun is all about sports. Okay. Jia wants to write specifically about the interest towards K-pop. Arbaz is writing about mehengai. Okay. So cause of inflations, tomato prices are touching skyrocketing now. Challenging scenarios like education and politics. Very good, Utkarsh. Okay, Savio is writing only about cricket and Komalpreet about pollution. Very good. So you guys are like very diverse. I like that fact. Everybody is expressing their thoughts. Everybody is so clear. That's what is expected out of you. Be clear in your ideas. Be clear in your thoughts. अगर आप सबको पता है आपको क्या चीज पसंद है और आप क्या लिखना चाहते हो, it's a very good idea. Great. Anjali wants to write about the fashion industry. Very good. How students' lives have changed after COVID. Awesome, Prayukta. That's how detailed you want to write. Okay. Sadab wants to write about health and nutrition and the after effects of junk food. Great. Thank you so much. I'm getting a lot of answers. Very good. So I've read most of them. Shanti wants to write about the successful launch of Chandrayaan. Okay. That's very recent, right, Shanti? But what in general? If Chandrayaan was not a discussion, then what would you write? School and sports bhumika, okay. Pranati, earthquake, like earthquake in general, you always want to write only about earthquakes. Is that your recurrent favorite? Scarcity, upliftment of the general category, theek hai, good. Okay, so I can see a diverse interest from politics to current affairs to societal issues to sports to AI to issues of education and emancipation of women. Very good. Thank you so much, everybody, for sharing your thoughts. So I think if I give you a topic, I'm sure everybody will come up with a good article and you will get full marks for that if you write well. Now let's move on and see what is the purpose of an article. Okay, now the purpose of an article is basically inflation. Okay. The purpose of an article is basically this, what my slide says. So I'll run you through my slide one by one. First of all, if I am writing something as a concern, as an issue, as a complaint, I don't want it to remain with me, isn't it? I want it to reach people. I want hundreds and millions of people to read it. So it helps me reach a wider audience because my article will either get circulated in journals, in essays, in newspapers, and then people will read it. If you remember your history textbooks, we used to have these people who would give speeches, during the pre-independence day struggles, and then they would stand on the podium, give speeches and write flyers, write pamphlets, and those pamphlets would be distributed. That's nothing but a kind of article writing. Okay. Second, I can help by providing some really important information. For example, people are not aware about what is section 144, what is section 370. So if I have some knowledge, why not write something in basic and let people be aware about it? Okay. Third, like many of you wrote, talking about societal issues, talking about education, poverty, etc. So you can write about a social cause and try to bring awareness. There is something like women emancipation. There is something like child labor. We can write about it and we can let our society people know that this is not correct. Fourth point is we can, like in relation to the third point, I can help somebody have a better life, probably because they're not aware of their rights. So I can help them be aware of their rights, tell them what is RTI, and maybe they can improve their living conditions. Okay, I can write articles on comparisons. For example, I have seen two movies. Okay, one was an old Devdas movie and one was a new Devdas movie. So I can make comparisons. So I can compare. I can compare the economy of India pre-independence and post-independence. I can compare the economy of India in the 1950s to the 60s to the 70s to the 21st century. So it helps me bring a statistical study, which is called comparative study. I can write for venerating somebody. You know what is venerating? Praising somebody. I can praise Nelson Mandela for whatever he has done towards apartheid. I can bring down somebody for the bad work he has done. So my words are, stronger than a sword, because the moment I write something and it gets published, a very, very large audience is seeing it. And then They will start relating to my thoughts. They will start agreeing with me. I will start influencing them. So if I'm saying A is good, the people will say A is good. If I'm saying B is bad, the people will say B is bad. That's how you build an image and you mar an image. Mar means to spoil. Okay. Next comes bring humor. Now, humor is very important. You know, it's the essence of life. You all must be watching the Kapil Sharma show. You all must be watching stand-up comedies, etc. So without humor, we don't have any spice. So I can write a light-hearted article. I can write like a funny article. You know, Mrs. Funny Bones, Twinkle Khanna is a very famous celebrity who writes little sarcastic articles. So that's one reason why an article can be written. And last but not the least, what we see in travelogues these days, you know, these travel bloggers, etc. They take you to a particular place and they show it to you. So instead of showing it to you, I'm writing on it. Okay. Nowadays, it's become more visual. So you have these vloggers going to a nice place and showing you the place, the hotel, the arrangements, the boat ride, the ferry ride, the flight ride. Similarly, I can do it by the help of my pen. So I can go to a particular place, I can show the place, I can report an event, I can talk about a location, I can talk about an idea I have about how to improve something in the scheme of education. That is also one of the purpose. Okay? Clear, everybody? So I'm telling you that article is a completely open-ended style of writing where there are various purposes, there are various reasons, and there are various ways where you can connect with the audience. That is the most important, because the idea is I'm not writing for myself. I'm writing because I want people to listen to me. I want to bring about a change. Okay? Okay. Any doubts? I'm just having a look at the queries. Yes, Apurva, pen is mightier than this word. Thanks. Clear, Mansi. Okay. Ayan wants to write about football, education. Yeah, MUN, fine. Sneha, MUN is good. Krishnam, it has to be creative. Why will anybody want to read something which is already present in 10 different magazines? Okay, got it. Dhruv dictionary, please. If you would not know the meanings of such words, I don't understand how would you actually, attempt the paper, that too in an English medium. I'll try, Rohit. Okay, got it. Thank you so much. Now, let's move on. The next slide is, these are some very good, interesting quotations I found on article writing. Mark Twain is a very famous classic writer who's written books like Tom Sawyer. Writing is easy. All you have to do is cross out the wrong words. That's like a pun intended, because, it's not easy at all. Writing is difficult because we don't know what to write and what words not to write. If I waited for perfection, I would never write a word. And that's what I tell every student. Don't wait for your writing to be perfect. We are not Shakespeare's. We are just ourselves and we are trying to improve. So the moment you get a topic in your mind, just write something on it. Okay? And the third says, good prose should be transparent like a window pane. So I don't have to be fancy every time. I don't have to hide behind the bush. I don't have to hide my ideas behind the bush. I don't have to be ambiguous, like, गोल गोल नहीं घुमाना है, सब कुछ clear होना चाहिए like a window pane. And George Orwell, as the name says, you must have heard his name. He's very famous for his book Animal Farm. It's a take on the society. The animals are kind of representing some kind of human beings from the society. So if you ever get a chance, please read the book. Okay? Okay. So till now, Krishna, its social causes are, education, poverty, illiteracy, child labor, women torture, domestic violence. These are social causes which affect the society. A cause which is there, which is affecting the society, and you want to write on it. Vaidehi, this is not a very direct answer. There is no direct answer for that. You can have long articles, you can have short articles. There is no ideal article. The moment it goes on to maybe 1,000 words, we start calling it an essay. That's the logic, which is like a very casual logic. It's not like every time, but mostly we don't have 3 page, 4 page, 5 page articles. Then it becomes an essay. More than that, rather becomes a research paper or a thesis. Okay, Vaidehi? Fine. So clear till here, everybody? Any doubts? It's very important you understand the concept behind article writing, because when you get article writing, आप लोगों को समझ आएगा कि exactly लिखना क्या है. Okay, now different types of article. We'll go slow, we'll go one by one, and we'll understand all of them. Can you please have a look at the list? It's a list of 6 very important styles of writing articles. Once you have read the list, I will take you through all the topics one by one. Okay? Poor, it's your mistake, which is so very valid. Which means you haven't worked hard, which means you haven't struggled, which means you haven't done anything towards earning money. Hence, you're dying poor, and hence the onus lies completely on you. Thank you, Sushyang. Wonderful quotation. We'll do Arbaz, we'll do all examples, don't worry. Nirbhairam. Okay. Fine. Clear, everybody? Article versus report writing is the next thing. And of course, then I'll tell you all about the articles. So now the first is descriptive writing, which is basically where I'm describing a particular event. For example, yesterday I went to an event where I saw the minister or the home minister or some celebrity coming in addressing the audience. It was an inaugural function. It was a cultural function. I sit down next day and I describe the event in the order of things as they happened. And when you are reading my description, you are getting a good feel of that event. It's called descriptive article. Okay, because it's going to be detailed. That's what descriptive article is. Next is informative article. So an informative article is if I'm writing about what is the CA exam, how many papers are there, what kind of a student can apply, what is the eligibility, what is the marking scheme, what are the different number of exams they have to sit for, what is Group A, what is Group B, what is IPCC, what is final year, etc., etc. I'm informing my audience about CA as a course. That becomes an informative article. Okay. If I'm telling people about the Yamuna being flooded and going over the danger mark, and I'm telling them how things are happening, where did the cyclone begin from, etc., etc. Again, I'm informing people. Okay. Persuasive writing is when I'm trying to convince somebody. I'm trying to persuade my teachers that please let us have at least one holiday in the middle of the week. Please let us have at least one PT period every day. And I'm giving you reasons for that. So when I'm trying to persuade or convince, it's called a persuasive article. Next is an argumentative article where my tone becomes a little aggressive, where I start sounding like a debater. Why do I think this is important? Why do you think you said this? So there, I'm not being very polite. I'm kind of playing with my words. I'm being a little out of control. That becomes argumentative. So वहां पे आपको थोड़ा सा लड़ाई का टोन दिखता है, थोड़ा सा. Okay. Narrative articles is when I'm doing a narration. For example, I went to Kashmir and I'm giving you a first-person narration about how to board the flight, where to stop, etc. How was my experience? I'm telling you less information, but more of my experience. So I'm narrating the story. It becomes a narrative article. And last of all is expository, which is an explanation article. अगर मैं आपको explain करूं कि ये GST कैसे calculate करते हैं, that becomes an expository article. अगर मैं आपको explain करूं कि black hole का concept क्या होता है physics में, that is an expository article. अगर मैं explain करूं कि अगर आप 10th के बाद ये subject लोगे या वो subject लोगे या वो subject लोगे, तो वो informative article होगा, वो expository नहीं होगा. बिकॉज फिर मैं आपको इन्फॉर्म कर रही हूं, आई एम नॉट एक्सप्लेनिंग. एक्सप्लेनेशन यूजुअली होते हैं किसी टॉपिक पे, किसी इशू पे. अगर मैं किसी को बता रही हूं कि व्हाट एग्जैक्टली इज सेक्शन 144, देन आई एम गोइंग टू एक्सप्लेन इट कि ये ऐसे होता है, ऐसे होता है, इसमें ये होता है, उसमें वो नहीं होता है. गॉट इट? क्लियर है एवरीबडी? हाँ प्रयुक्ता, वेरी गुड. दीज आर डिस्क्राइब्ड इन द 6th चैप्टर, विच इज इंट्रोडक्शन टू बेसिक्स ऑफ राइटिंग. ठीक है रोशनी, नो वरीज. Even if you have pending topics, you can cover them up. Tahira, sometimes yes, they can overlap because expository is basically about explanation. Narrative, I told you, Saloni, narrative is more about first person narration. Your experience with something. You visit a particular place, you're giving a narrative story. When the author is narrating a story or an experience or a situation, it's called narrative article. I think I went to Kashmir, so and so. I think I saw this. I think this. So it's more about the I factor in narration. Okay. Thanks, Jia. Thanks, Mansi. Thanks, Ruhani, Akshita. Yes, Vedehi. Krishna. Informative, I told you, is informing about something. जैसे I'm telling you, CUET के results आ गए हैं, CUET की second list आ गई है, CUET exam के results date announce हो गई हैं, तो मैं आपको inform कर रही हूँ, मैं आपको कुछ explain नहीं कर रही. But if I explain what is the CUET exam, कौन कौन उस exam को ले सकता है, what is the benefit of writing a CUET exam, what is the format, what is the marking scheme, what is the checking scheme, that becomes an expository article. Yes, Yamini, you can say that. Sadab, again, description is more about an event. Expository is more about a topic. Dolly, persuasion is basically about convincing somebody. You want to persuade your parents that CA is the right course for you. They want you to take up some other course, but you want to enter into CA. So you're going to persuade them. You're going to convince them. So whatever you are saying in favor for your own points becomes persuasive. Argumentation is, yes, it's more like a debate-based topic. Sorry, Tahira, I wouldn't have time and bandwidth to discuss all this. Yes, Prutha, you got it right. Okay. So everybody is asking the same thing. I've explained everything twice. Expository is explanation. Narrative is first person narration. Argumentative is debate tone, a tone of fight. Persuasion is to convince and put forward your points. Informative is giving information and making some people aware. And descriptive is a detailed description about an analysis maybe. Okay, clear everybody? So now I'm not going to repeat this. You can revisit the video and again listen to what I said, or you can visit chapter number 6 where there are introduction to basics of writing. All this also is available. Okay? Okay, now comes what is the difference between an article and a report. So you can get a question directly which says state 3 differences between article writing and report writing. And I want you to come up with really good answers. Okay. Now article writing, like I said in the beginning, is very, very freehand. We don't generally follow a template. So it can be formal, it can be informal. कैसे भी आप लिख सकते हो. उसमें कुछ hard and fast rule नहीं है. But when I'm doing a report writing, it's never for myself. A report is never written for my own self. It's always written for a submission. because you have reported something for someone to read. तो अगर हम एक रिपोर्ट बना रहे हैं, मैं अपने लिए क्यों रिपोर्ट बनाऊंगी? अगर आपकी रिपोर्ट कार्ड स्कूल से आ रही है, या आपकी डेली रिपोर्ट की परफॉर्मेंस रिपोर्ट है, तो या आपके बॉस के लिए है, या आपकी कुलीग्स के लिए है, या आपके पेरेंट्स के लिए है, isn't it? So it's meant for somebody, hence it only follows the formal style. Second is, article can be reached across the world. You can write something sitting in your house and that can be published in Africa or maybe in Mexico. It's possible. But a report has very specific audience. I don't want to know maybe what's happening in a particular college, what are the gender issues there, what is the gender ratio in a particular college, or I don't want to learn about what's happening with River Nile, some kind of a report on cleaning River Nile. I don't want to know that. So it's meant for a specific audience. जो उस चीज से इफेक्ट हो रहे हैं, उन्हीं लोगों के लिए रिपोर्ट लिखी जाती है. So it's a very closed audience. It's a very specific audience. Third, articles can be fictional. I can write about mythical creatures. I can write about fairies. I can write about avatars. I can write about Wakandas. I can write about Black Panther and all these Marvel heroes. I can write anything. I can write so much that people start crying. I can write so much that people start believing in a new character. You know, these days people are reading books like Percy Jackson, etc. I can be as creative. I can create another world for that matter. All this is allowed in article writing. So it's open-ended, no restrictions. But a report, you cannot write anything on your own. It has to be factual. You have to collect data. You have to have a strong backing. You have to have done a research. You have to have spoken to people. On the basis of that survey, you will prepare a report. रिपोर्ट में कोई यूनिकॉर्न्स नहीं होंगे, कोई फेरीज नहीं होंगी, कोई एल्व्स नहीं होंगे, कोई सांता क्लॉस नहीं होगा. बट आर्टिकल राइटिंग में ये सब हो सकता है. Got it, everybody? Article writing can be anything from Marvel heroes to DC heroes to flying creatures to dinosaurs and T-Rexes. Anything. रिपोर्ट में स्टैटिस्टिक्स होते हैं, सर्वेज होते हैं, बार ग्राफ्स होते हैं, पास्ट ईयर्स का परफॉर्मेंस होता है, वेन डायग्राम्स होता है, बिकॉज सब कुछ फैक्ट बेस्ड है. ओके Tahira, you can put the question. I'll see if I can answer. Okay, fourth one is offers advice, suggestions and ideas. Again, अब आर्टिकल तो बहुत फ्री हैंड राइटिंग है, तो आप शायद किसी को कुछ सजेशन देना चाह रहे हैं. As a good aware educationalist, you are wanting to tell people about why should somebody write a CA paper, why should anybody get into the merchant navy, why should anybody get into the armed forces. You can give suggestions. You can tell people, you know, you can do a civil service even after finishing your medical. आप ideas भी दे सकते हो. But report में एक certain structure follow होता है, एक certain template follow होता है, एक certain format होता है. इंडेक्स है, टेबल है, कंटेंट है, बिब्लियोग्राफी है, स्टडी रिपोर्ट है, सब कुछ स्टैंडर्ड होता है. उसमें यू कैन नॉट मेक योर ओन आइडियाज, बिकॉज उसका ऑर्गेनाइजेशन एक स्टैंडर्ड फॉर्मेट पे बेस्ड होता है. उसमें कोई सजेशंस नहीं चलते, उसमें कोई आइडियाज नहीं चलते. अगर कोई प्रॉब्लम है तो उसके बेसिस पे क्या रिसर्च किया है कि उसका सोल्यूशन निकल रहा है. एवरीथिंग बिकम्स रियलिस्टिक, नॉट फिक्शनल. And last but not the least, article writing can be for pleasure. You know, I just want to write because I just want to write. I just want to write because I just want people to read. And I don't want people to take it back with them. It's just that casually पढ़ लिया and casually लिख दिया, that's it. Just for fun. Okay? Similarly, report में क्या होता है? Sorry, not similarly. Unlike in a report, बहुत ज्यादा रियलिटी चेक होता है, बहुत ज्यादा डिटेल्ड एनालिसिस होता है. कुछ भी अपने मन से नहीं होता. यू आर नॉट एनीबडी टू गिव योर ओपिनियन व्हाइल यू आर राइटिंग रिपोर्ट्स, बिकॉज रिपोर्ट्स आर मेंट टू बी रियलिस्टिक, फैक्ट बेस्ड, फैक्चुअल होते हैं. ठीक है? दे प्ले विद नंबर्स, दे प्ले विद सर्वेज, दे प्ले विद वेन डायग्राम्स, दे हैव अ लॉट ऑफ बार ग्राफ्स, दे हैव अ लॉट ऑफ स्टैटिस्टिक्स, दे हैव अ लॉट ऑफ कैलकुलेशंस डन. So report is never for pleasure reading because you will not enjoy reading a report. ठीक है? Clear? Okay, what is Sneha saying? Okay, very good, Sneha. That's good. Fictional means, Mahika, something which is not real. The opposite of real is fictional. निर्भय राम, आर्टिकल राइटिंग का बेनिफिट ये है कि अगर आपको कभी कुछ राइटिंग करने को बोले, what do you think about the CA course? If you are an employee in an MNC and you are asked to submit an article on any current situation that time, which is to be published in your office magazine, tell me your views about maybe some kind of a certain section or an act passed at that time, and you don't know what to write. So article writing is nothing but honing your writing skills. It gives you that freedom, how you are actually going to, be more creative, be more vocal. That's what an article allows you to do. Okay. Okay. Any other thing? Fine. So is this slide clear? Everything is okay in this slide? You all have understood? Okay, Tahira, you can put your doubt as I said. Okay, so you all, if suddenly I say, okay, everybody, please write a persuasive article on a particular topic, trying to convince your parents to let you go for a short trip to Jaipur for 2 days, that becomes a persuasive article. It can be as simple as that. If I say, if it's an argumentative article, please talk about a recent development which has happened in your society and you are not happy with it, please write about that. You might just end up getting into an argument. Okay. Whether articles have a wider audience because mostly articles are published. You don't have your own collection of articles. You always want to publish articles. So it can be part of a local newspaper, a local magazine, a society news, a daily newspaper, a monthly newspaper, the national dailies, a journal. So the more they get published, a wider audience will be reading them. अगर आपका article एक ऐसी book में है जो कि college की यूनिवर्सिटी के कॉलेज की लाइब्रेरी में है, then everybody coming in the college who are having that particular subject will read your article. So it has a larger audience. Uzair, we are not doing report writing, we are doing article writing. So report writing की discussions we'll do in that class. Article writing की word limit question में mentioned होती है. 100 words, 150 words, 200 words, 250 words. Whatever it is, it will be clearly mentioned in the question. And you have to stick to the word limit. If you go beyond the word limit, we'll deduct marks. The purpose of giving you a word limit is to write within that. अगर आप उस word limit को follow ही नहीं कर रहे हो, question में लिखा है 250 words and you are writing 500 words, which is just the double, then you're not getting any marks for it. You should always learn to write within restricted environments. Okay? Okay, Akshita, Ankita, thank you so much. Akruti, so Rohit, very good. Varun says fine. Jia says fine. Mansi says fine. And Anjali says fine. Okay, so everything is clear as of now. This is the first part of it. What is the difference between an article and what is the difference between a report? You should know the difference. You should be able to give me 3 to 4 differences if there is a question on this. And of course, you won't get any theory question about what is an article, but you will definitely get a question to write an article. Remember that. Okay. Writing is what I have to check, not simply theory part of questions. Okay. Report writing must be factual. Article writing can be imaginary. Yes, Amit. Important to write all the points in the article. मतलब article में तो depend करता है ना, आप क्या सोच रहे हो, आपको क्या अच्छा लग रहा है. You can write anything. Okay, so on that note, I'll stop my sharing. Let's take a 10-minute break. We'll be back at 12 o'clock. 10 minutes, just revise your thoughts. If there are any doubts, you can get them clarified. And see you soon at 12. Okay, welcome students. After a short, refreshing 10-minute break, I hope everything is clear till now. We are doing article writing. It's a freehand style of writing. Generally, there are no restrictions except for the word limit and, of course, the title part of it. I haven't discussed that. I'll come to that slowly as the class goes on. Till now, we have discussed styles of writing in articles, persuasive articles, narrative articles, expository articles, descriptive articles. There is a word limit which you all have to adhere to. Plus minus 10 is okay, but more than that, it's not considered to be very good. So please try and stick to the word limits. That's the whole purpose of the word limit. अगर आप लोग word limit को follow नहीं करोगे, तो उसका purpose solve नहीं होता है. So आपको word limit दी ही इसीलिए जाती है कि आप विद इन दैट रेंज लिख के काम अपना लिखिए. ओके ओके. Then we also did a discussion between the difference between article writing and report writing. They are completely different styles of writing. You cannot have anything common between articles and reports. एक तो बहुत ही ज्यादा fictional and creative है, दूसरा बहुत ही ज्यादा factual and realistic है. One has an audience which is as large as, your article being spread across the world, and the other is as closed and as short as the report being submitted only within the organization. So there are a list of differences. You can have a look at the PPT once it gets uploaded, and you can also revisit the lecture once we are done with the live class. So please make sure you understand these basic nuances. अगर आपको ऑफिस में कोई बोल रहा है that write a report, you should know that I'm writing a report and I'm not writing an article. So your thought process, your style of writing, the way you are collecting information should be accordingly. Okay? Okay? Okay, anything else from your side which I need to answer? I'm giving you a minute till the time I share my presentation back. You can ask me if there is anything which is a doubt. Anything which is a concern, please refer to your study material. You will have so much to practice. There are so many topics given. There are so many examples taken care of. So even if you sit and attempt a mock test paper, you will get a clear picture about what kind of questions come from each chapter. So instead of asking in class कि इस chapter का weightage क्या है और इस chapter के questions क्या हैं, आप एक बार एफर्ट करके प्लीज एमटीपीज आरटीपीज को देखिए. दे आर द बेस्ट सोर्स and the best way to understand how will your paper look like. Okay? And BCR is a paper which is very general. You don't have to mug up anything. आपके concepts clear होने चाहिए. कुछ solve नहीं करना है, कुछ learn नहीं करके जाना है. स्टैंडर्ड फॉर्मेट्स हैं, स्टैंडर्ड टेम्पलेट्स हैं. अगर नोट मेकिंग है तो आपको पता है एक ड्रॉप डाउन लिस्ट बनानी है, एक समरी लिखनी है, एक टाइटल लिखना है, की लिखना है. अगर रिज्यूमे है तो कौन सा स्टाइल फॉलो करना है. अगर रिपोर्ट राइटिंग है तो इज इट अ न्यूज़पेपर स्टाइल और अ फॉर्मल रिपोर्ट स्टाइल. उतना अगर आपको समझ आ गया है, देन आई थिंक यू कैन रियली गिव इट योर बेस्ट शॉट एंड यू कैन गेट अ फुल स्कोर इन बीसीआर. ओके. चांदना, क्यों लिखना है 150 वर्ड्स? फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, व्हाई डू यू ऑलवेज गेट इनटू हाइपोथेटिकल सिचुएशंस? अगर क्वेश्चन 200 वर्ड्स है, प्लीज टच एटलीस्ट 180. ओके. थैंक्स नेहा, थैंक्स. You can check the paper, Dhruv. You can have a look at the mock test paper. You can understand articles कितने marks के आते हैं. Which topics, Roshni? I didn't understand which topics. You can always go through the whole discussion again. You will get a fair bit of idea because see, within limited time, I won't be able to repeat everything. But yes, I'm trying my best कि जितना भी हम एक attempt में कर रहे हैं, आप लोगों को clearly समझ आ जाए and you don't get stuck up at some point. Okay? So carrying it forward from here, these are some common doubts. Whether ही standard style होता है, generally with a decent style of writing, a decent font, we write 10 words in a line. A standard A4 size of paper अगर है, so अगर 10 words एक line में है, 10 words में 100 words होंगे, so it's always approximation based. नैरेटिव स्टाइल प्रोथा। सी पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू तो सब स्टाइल्स में ही होगा ना, नैरेटिव में भी आप अपना बता रहे हो, पर्सुएसिव में भी आप अपना बता रहे हो, एक्सपोजिटरी में आप चीज को एक्सप्लेन कर रहे हो विच माइट बी अ फैक्ट, तो आप उसमें उसके साथ बता सकते हो कि वेदर इट्स अ गुड थिंग और अ बैड थिंग। सो आर्टिकल्स में देयर इज नो पर्टिकुलर स्टाइल विच इज आस्किंग यू टू शेयर योर पीओवी, यू कैन डू इट विद एवरी स्टाइल। Roshni, that will be towards the end of the class when it's a recap. I'm just midway, so you can go through the topics yourself once I'm finished with the lecture. I already told you 5 minutes back what all we did, the kinds of style of the styles of articles, and the difference between article and report, and what exactly article is. So these are the main three topics which we have covered. They've all the study material is for classes unless there is a revision mentioned. So any kind of change in the pattern will be mentioned in the website. You can have a look. Otherwise, if you are doing the classes, you are very well set for the December exams also. Okay? Okay, everybody? Great. Now let's continue. So these are some common doubts students ask, and even otherwise people keep asking कि essay और article में क्या difference होता है. First of all, तो word limit होती है. An article is definitely considered to be shorter than an essay. Essay is the word itself rings a bell. Oh my God, essay लिखना है French Revolution पे, फिर तो मुझे 5-10 पेज लिखने होंगे. So वो straight away मेरा thought history related topics पे जाता है. ओहो ऐसे लिखना है नेपोलियन पे, फिर तो मुझे अगेन 10 पेज लिखने होंगे. सो एसेज हैव दिस फियर एसोसिएटेड विद देम कि आई रियली हैव टू राइट लाइक शीट्स एंड शीट्स एंड शीट्स ऑफ पेपर, which is somewhat true. I don't deny that is about essays. That's why they are an essay. But if I have to write an article, then I can be very, very short and concise. Remember, we did words like crisp, concise, pressy में किया था. So article is much lesser in words, much shorter than an essay. That's the first basic difference. Second is essay involves a lot of background information, foreground information, related topics left and right. बहुत कनेक्टेड वेब होता है ऐसे. अगर मुझे ऐसे लिखना है, फॉर एग्जाम्पल राइट एन ऐसे ऑन ग्लोबल वार्मिंग, ओके, so I have to discuss the temperatures which were there in 1920s to 30s to 40s to 50s to 2020 to 2000 to 2010 15. मुझे इतना कुछ डिटेल में लिखना है. But if I have to write an article on global warming, I can simply say what is global warming, why do the scientists or the environmentalists think it has started, what is its impact, and what are the consequences if we don't control it. Done. That's an article. ऐसे में क्यों है, क्या है, कब है, कहाँ है, all the wheres, all the whys, all the whens, all the since, everything is included. तो आपको अपने आप ही समझ आ जाएगा कि ऐसे लिखना है तो कम से कम 1000 words का होगा. आर्टिकल लिखना है, it can be as small as 100 words, as small as 200 words. Okay? Okay. Articles are usually published in newspapers and magazines. So if you read an India Today or a Frontline or an Outlook or a Week, आपको दिखेंगे उसमें articles हैं, because they are specifically meant for an everyday publication or a weekly publication or a newspaper publication. Essays का ऐसे publications में होना बहुत unlikely है, because जहां पे बहुत ज्यादा information आपने दी है, वो एक common man को नहीं चाहिए. अगर उतनी डिटेल्स दे रहे हो तो उसकी ऑडियंस बहुत स्पेसिफिक होगी. देन मे बी देयर इज अ स्टूडेंट हु इज रिसर्चिंग ऑन द एनवायरमेंटल चेंजेस, ही विल नीड एन एसे ऑन ग्लोबल वार्मिंग. I will not need it. So those kind of essays are mostly published in journals, research papers, PhD thesis, or maybe some more detailed books which are found in big libraries. Okay. Now there are some very famous essay writing competitions, which used to happen in school and colleges. Then you have to really put your heart and soul and inform everything, include all the information, which is not true for articles. And last of all, like Savio Di Mello says, the brevity part of it. छोटा है, small है, lengthy नहीं है. And last of all, the ease to understand. if I am not a science background student, if I am not a commerce background student, if I am not a humanities background student, I still can understand the topics about these subjects. But if I am studying about the DNA, the RNA, the messengers, the blood flow, the ventricles, the auricles in the heart, then I need to be a science student. I need a deeper understanding on an essay of that. I cannot understand an essay if I'm not a student of that background. अगर मुझे explain करना है financial status, if I have to explain what is the GDP of a country, how do we calculate GDP, what is the income tax return, how is it calculated, what is VAT, what is GST, what is CGST, उस information के लिए अगर मुझे उस subject की background knowledge है, it's always helpful. I can write an essay. But अगर मुझे article पढ़ना है, I don't need to have enough background knowledge because the article is small enough to give me exactly what I need. No details required, no in-depth study required, so no insight required into that topic. Okay? Clear, everybody? Is it okay till now? So these are some very, very important points of difference between an article and an essay. If you get a question in your exam, what is the difference between an article and an essay, and it's a 2-mark question, you have to give me at least 2 to 3 points, at least. If it's a 2-mark question, you can give me 4 points, all of these 4, or you can give me 3 points. Okay? If it's a 1-mark question, then please give me at least 2 points. That's how it should be. You should know how to answer according to the weightage of the question. And that's the reason why I keep saying, keep referring to your mock test papers, because उन्हीं को देख के समझ आता है कि किस टाइप के क्वेश्चंस आ रहे हैं और कितना लिखना है, उसके साथ आंसर्स भी अटैच्ड हैं. ठीक है? ओके, सत्या एंड अंकिता एंड अमित एंड वैदेही, एवरीबडी सेज ओके, ग्रेट. एनीथिंग एल्स? कुछ भी और आप लोगों को चाहिए, कुछ भी और अभी तक नहीं समझ आया, प्लीज फील फ्री टू कम बैक एंड डिस्कस. Okay, now this is a list of some really trending topics which may be of interest to you, because क्या होता है कि हम लोग हमेशा सोचते हैं कि हमें कुछ लिखना है, but किस पे लिखना है वो नहीं पता. So you might just take up any one of these and start writing. Let's write on the new education policy. Let's write on the economy of France. Let's write on politics and the upcoming elections. Let's write on artificial intelligence and machine learning. Let's write on how history repeats itself and we find ourselves in the same situation as we were earlier. Okay, so these are some. Okay, I can call you Mark Savio de Mello. Okay, that'll be easy. Thanks, Mark. Okay, so these are some very interesting trending subjects जिनके ऊपर you can get a question to write on. You can get an article to write on. So for this, how do we study? Now, study करने के लिए, the best thing is, please read newspapers regularly. The more you read newspapers, the better your information is, the better your understanding is, the better retention, and you will be able to grasp a lot. Okay? That's what I want you to understand. Without having read a particular newspaper or a magazine, we don't get information. And it's a request. Please don't rely on any internet-based information which might not be authentic. That's the problem. Okay? Got it? Fine. Anything else which you need to ask or tell? Okay, you can read the Hindu, you can read the Times of India, you can read the Hindustan Times. Okay. Avoid reading any regional newspaper because that's not going to help you know about national news, international news. But yes, you can definitely read about these national dailies, Hindu, Deccan Herald, Deccan Chronicle, Hindustan Times, Times of India. All these are really helpful. Fine. Okay, so this is clear. This is just a rough slide which I wanted you to see because I thought you should be knowing what are the topics which you should be aware about. Okay, now somebody was asked, yes, Economic Times, Ishika, very good. Economic Times is a very niche newspaper because it gives you only economic related news, but it's a good paper. Definitely a very good paper. You can read it. Okay, now the format. अब वैसे तो we keep saying कोई format नहीं है, कोई format नहीं है, but एक बहुत basic सा format है which you should be following. So first of all, remember every article should have a title. Without a title, the article makes no sense. So I request all of you, keep that in mind that whenever I write an article, the title is the deciding factor. उस टाइटल को देख के ही आई विल डिसाइड वेदर आई वांट टू रीड इट और नॉट रीड इट. ठीक है, अगर मुझे टाइटल ही इंप्रेसिव नहीं लगेगा, I might just leave the page, I might just skip the page and move on. So if you want your article to be read, then please write a good, interesting, captivating title. Okay? Then comes the introduction. So what are you writing about? Are you writing about the heavy rains? Are you writing about the sinking of the submarine Titanic? Are you writing about a cyclone Biparjoy? Are you writing about the condition of water clogging in areas around Yamuna? Are you writing about some flood situation? What are you writing about? वो intro paragraph first paragraph होना चाहिए, so that once I read the first paragraph as a reader, मुझे समझ आ जाए कि ये article इस topic के बारे में. Okay, so article writing is very important from the point of view of writing a title and giving a nice interesting introduction. Next comes the body. अब बॉडी में क्या होता है, 2 पैराग्राफ भी हो सकते हैं, 1 पैराग्राफ भी हो सकता है. इट्स नॉट अ स्टैंडर्ड फॉर्मेट. So you can have introduction, body and conclusion. You can have introduction and conclusion. Body में ज्यादा कुछ लिखने को नहीं है, छोटा सा आर्टिकल है, तो फर्स्ट पैराग्राफ के बाद सीधे कंक्लूजन आ सकता है. और यू कैन हैव बॉडी एंड कंक्लूजन मर्ज करके, क्योंकि कंक्लूजन आपका सिर्फ एक लाइन का है. You don't need a separate paragraph for it. So you can write introduction, body plus conclusion in the second paragraph. Okay. So this is a very freehand kind of writing, as I told you. Just that if it's a proper detailed article, then please have the introduction, please have at least 2 paragraphs and then a separate paragraph for the conclusion, which is obviously not required. A conclusion can be 2 to 3 lines also. Okay. अब whether ही easy words क्या होते हैं, you know, this is very subjective. What is easy for you might be very difficult for me. What is difficult for me might be easy for you. So it's just that keep enhancing your vocabulary, keep reading new stuff, keep adding new words to your writing and your speaking skills. So there is nothing easy. अब what is easy for Shashi Tharoor, Mr. Shashi Tharoor, the wonderful linguist, might not be easy for me. Isn't it? So मेरा एजेंडा क्या होना चाहिए कि मैं एक ऐसी लैंग्वेज लिखूं that people feel good about reading my stuff. They should feel impressed that I am a good writer. That's the feeling people and readers should have when they read my answers. If you have to motivate, then you should write motivational articles. जैसे you have these, you know, you have these very famous motivational speakers these days. You have Gaur Gopal Das, you have Sadhgurus, you have what's his name, Sandeep Maheshwari. So these are people who are giving motivational talks and writing motivational articles. That's how you have to write, Yamini. Gautam, it's good if you give it an indent. अगर आप थोड़ा सा लेफ्ट में मार्जिन छोड़ देते हैं तो अच्छा रहता है, but that's not like a hard and fast rule. Okay. Okay. Simple words. Yes, that's what I mean. Simple words का context क्या है? मतलब simple मतलब आप ऐसे लिखोगे, I am a girl, I like to go to school. You should write according to your age. You should write according to your knowledge. So उसमें simple and difficult का criteria थोड़ा समझना मुश्किल हो जाता है. Okay? Every article can have an introduction. Komal Preet, agar narrative article hai, if it's a narration about my trip to the Nehru Planetarium and I'm going to narrate it, so I'm going to tell you, there are various planetariums I have visited, and luckily I got a chance to visit the Nehru Planetarium, which is based in Delhi, which is also based in Hyderabad, and there are various planetariums in different cities across the country. And then I can say, so it was, why did I visit? What was the agenda? That can be an introduction. And then you start narrating how exactly your trip was. Saloni, it's possible both ways. You can write a quotation to start, or you can write in your own words to start. Both are allowed. Okay. Give the title of an article in the form of a quote. दे सकते हो. But let it be quote unquote, because title article में क्या होता है? If you're giving the title in the form of a quotation, if it's your own quotation, fine. But if you're taking somebody's quotation, like something what Mr. Nelson Mandela said, something what Mother Teresa said, something what Martin Luther Jr. said, then you have to mention the name of the person. You cannot take credit for what somebody else has said. अगर वैसा possible है तो ठीक है. But usually क्या होता है? We don't use quotations as titles of articles. You can use the quotation to give a point, to prove a point, to add more concreteness and substantial evidence to your topic, but avoid using the quotation as the title of the article. Ankita, that wouldn't matter. कहीं पे भी लिख सकते हो. It's just a normal piece of writing. Left, right, center, all is okay. No, Jia. Hindi quotations not allowed, because you're attempting the paper in an English medium mode, then Hindi will not be allowed. Okay? Clear, everybody? Till here, any doubts? The format is clear. The topics are clear. The styles of writings are clear. Okay, let's move on then. Okay, so here, just to make sure you all understand, these are some images of newspaper articles I have collected from various places. So that you can see the title, How COVID-19 is Affecting People with Mental Health Disorders. The name of the writer is given just below his picture by Dr. Anish Shah. He's an MD. Okay. There is another title which says Compassion and Love Go Hand in Hand. It's written by Polly Carter. The name of the writer is always mentioned. Then there is another article which says A Good Heart is Colorblind. It's about an 11-year-old boy. Okay. So my agenda was just to give you a basic, overview about what articles you get in the newspaper, and you are identifying the articles. So today's task can be, after the class is over, see the newspaper, open today's National Daily, and mark at least 3 to 4 articles which you think are relevant for your knowledge at this point of time and which you want to read, and try to write a summary on the articles. So that will help you in reading also, in writing also, in improving your vocabulary also, and concentration also. Okay? Not necessary, Ankita. You don't need inverted commas. You can see the titles on my screen. None of the titles are in inverted commas. Only quotation marks should be in inverted commas. Amit, you can include statistical information, factual information. You can do that. ताहिरा, कंक्लूजन तो ये होता है ना, जब आपने कोई टॉपिक लिखा है, hence I feel, so I feel, you can have a look at these articles. जैसे COVID-19 का effect है, so you can see the last paragraph. It says, as social distancing, travel restrictions, isolation become the status quo, access to health, so and so, the result is an abrupt loss of access to support structures and mental health services. So it's just that when you write, you come to a conclusion that hence I feel so and so is happening, therefore I think we should do this. Thus, we realize the importance, these are some closing lines. Yes, Mark, you can. So if you write the article, you can write your name. If there is a name given in the question, you can write that. If there is nothing given, then you can leave the name part also. Okay? It's just once that you have to read at least 3 to 4 articles from the newspaper today and mark the important words and understand what the articles are about. If time permits, write a summary also. Okay? Anecdotes are like, these funny lines which you refer to. So if you have some anecdotes, you are kind of referring to some daily life instances and you're giving humorous analogies. That is anecdotes. Yes, Monish, you can. Okay, Mark. Okay, clear, everybody? Is it okay till now? 10 slides done. I don't think so. There is any doubt. As a practice, please take up article writing whenever you are free. Do it regularly in your free time. Avoid watching OTTs and avoid watching YouTube. You can rather concentrate on writing and reading skills. It's an important skill for upcoming CAs. You need to upgrade yourself. You need to realize that without good spoken and written communication, you will not be able to perform as a smart CA in offices. So please, I request you, read a lot, practice writing, and that makes you a stronger, confident person. Okay? Okay. Next doubt is, what's the doubt here? Dave, you need to get 40 on 40. Will that give you an inspiration? अंकिता अभी देखा ना आपने देखो पैसेज देखो आर्टिकल देखो यहाँ पे स्क्रीन पे where is the name written? You can see 2 articles on the screen. Can you see where the name is written? Below the title. No, I just now told you, no, Akriti, it's not compulsory. Anecdote is just a funny line. So if you're talking about Greek mythology or you're making fun of mythology, you can just refer to the fairies and the unicorns flying around you. That's an anecdote. Anything where there is a little tinge of humor and a reference to stories around, we call it anecdotes. Okay? Why do you need them? You don't need to use anecdotes. ऐसा कुछ compulsory नहीं है that आपको anecdotes ही use करना है. Okay? नहीं भी करोगे तो भी चलेगा. Examples, okay. Okay, for example, I remember when I used to sit on, let's say, have you usually read a funny story about any real person? That becomes an anecdote. So if you hear speeches by Mr. Barack Obama, he uses a lot of anecdotes. It can be used to introduce a topic, to illustrate a topic. It can be to bring the situation into a lighter mood. We use anecdotes. Okay, kind of a funny reference to something. It's a short story, it's an amusing story, it's a humorous story about a real incident, about a real person. And when you're talking to your friends about your daily life, you just refer to one single day and you refer to it as funny. It just adds to the humor part and the interest part of your writing. Okay? Prima facie means on the face of it. So prima facie BCR paper appears to be difficult, but actually when you sit and study, it's very easy. ऊपर ऊपर से जो दिखता है वो prima facie होता है. नहीं, you don't have to leave a line, Gautam. Why do you want to pass only one paper, Vansh? Why not attempt both papers properly and pass in both papers? I'm not going to tell you कितने मार्क्स का पासिंग है। दोनों पेपर्स लॉ का हो चाहे बीसीआर का हो, अच्छे से करना है, एंड दोनों पेपर्स में पासिंग मार्क्स से ज्यादा लाने हैं। ठीक है, थिंक ऑप्टिमिस्टिकली, डोंट जस्ट study for the sake of finishing the paper and just getting passing marks and getting through. No, that's not the idea. Okay. So I have a list of topics. Sorry, I have a list of topics which I wanted you to attempt. So some of you take up, no, I mean, obviously, I don't want all of you to attempt the same. So some of you take up a couple of topics and don't write articles, just write bullet points and share them with me. Or maybe I'll give you examples for one or two and then you can write. So for example, your article writing topic is ways to control exam anxiety. Okay. And I'm going to write on this for the youngsters who are appearing for any exam. So first of all, your introduction should be exam fear should always be kept under control because there should not be anything like exam fear. Why fear something where you don't have control? Moving on, you will say every exam brings in a certain level of anxiety in students, even if you are prepared or unprepared. The fact remains that exam fear builds in the nervousness and also hampers your performance. As a result, it is suggested that stay calm before your exams. Here are some important tips or some important things you can follow to maintain your calm before exams. First point. So now I'm going to give you some bullets. First point, prepare well much ahead of your exam. Second, do a good revision so that most of the content is retained in your head. Third, stay self-confident. Fourth, do not worry about your result, but always keep working hard. Fifth, do not panic last moment. Do not study anything at the 11th hour. Sixth, please do some kind of a 5-minute meditation or a 10-minute yoga or a deep breathing exercise every day to keep your mind and your head and your heart at a cool position. And last but not the least, listen to the advice given by your seniors and your teachers. All this helps you control exam anxiety because in student life, exams happen every day. So take it as a regular feature. Don't get bothered by it. As long as you are 100% prepared, nothing in the exam can go wrong. So anxiety is directly proportional to the style or to the level of preparation. Somebody who is very much prepared will not be as anxious as somebody who is half done. Okay, this is how your article will be. So I've just summed up. I know there is a better way to write it. I've just summed up casually how I can put some information for topic number 7. Okay. So Abhishek wants to write on plastic ban, okay, and Gauri also wants to write on plastic ban, okay. Before you write, all of you, is there any topic from this list of 8 which you want me to discuss? One I've already discussed, the 7th one. Anything else for which you feel I can give you some points? Please do so. Otherwise, I can ask you to start writing on just one topic. Okay, Saloni says 4. Sales of arms and weapons should be with license. Well, this is with respect to the kind of violence which keeps happening in US because there is no license involved with the sale of weapons. Anybody can go buy a gun, buy a Nerf, and start shooting. And there have been various shooting incidents in Texas, US. So to control that and to let there be a control on the purchase of arms and weapons, there should be a license which should take care of the age limit, have your PAN card, have your Aadhaar card registered, and there should be a reason why you need to buy a weapon. Okay? And hence you can elaborate on that part. Okay, please go ahead. Okay. Okay, so 6 and 5, time and tide. Okay, so I'll discuss something about the first topic, going in order. Time and tide wait for none. So tide is basically referring to the waves of the sea. You have high tides and low tides depending on the position of the moon. People who stay in coastal areas, I'm sure you will know what is a high tide and a low tide. And otherwise, everybody has read this in geography also. So time and tide wait for none means you cannot wait for the right time. Time will run on its own. Tides and waves will run on their own. You have to catch pace and take care of whatever you have to be doing. I cannot say जब time आएगा तब करेंगे. Time आ चुका है. So it basically shows the importance of a good timetable in a student's life. It shows the importance of time management. It shows how somebody who is always active and doing things punctually reaches success or achieves success. People who keep delaying things, people who keep procrastinating, people who laze around and wait कि ठीक है जब एग्जाम आएंगे तब देख लेंगे, सडनली एग्जाम भी आ जाते हैं, सडनली रिजल्ट भी आ जाता है, पता चलता है कुछ भी अच्छा नहीं हो. So there is never a right time. Start right now. Okay, that's what the first one says. You can take up a small example. Some of you are asking me the sixth one, conventional teaching versus new style pedagogy. Conventional teaching is classroom teaching, where the teacher is writing a topic, she or he is explaining some content, the way it happens in old conventional schools. New style pedagogy is sharing presentations, doing research work, doing projects, asking the children to come up with their doubts and solve their doubts in a mixed group. That is new style pedagogy. Pedagogy means style of teaching. So which one do you support? You like the online way of teaching where it's more presentation and orientation based, or you support the conventional teaching, which is more like a classroom teaching, which you all have been undergoing. Okay. Title is imaginary. Yes, it can be fictional, anything. No, Mark, you can include anything. US is just an example I gave. You can talk about India also. Where did you get this topic from, Akib? Okay, Mr. Om has already written something on time and tide. Very good. I'm happy. Okay, Sadab, you have written really good. Very nice. And Ruhani has written very good on the plastic ban, the role of plastic, which was earlier restricted to necessary products like wires. Very good. Akib has given me a topic to discuss. What is the relationship between a needle and thread? So a needle is inseparable from a thread, or maybe irrespective of the needle and the thread, their purposes are different. But when they come together, they can bring out a larger product and maybe get a shirt stitch, maybe get a dress stitch. So when two things are together, they can really bring a difference as opposed to when they are used individually. So you can talk about things working in pairs, how your result is a better thing, as opposed to when they are working individual. So this can be an indirect hint towards teamwork. Okay. Ritu, pedagogy means style of teaching. Okay, Jia has also written something on the impact of social media on youngsters. I'm just reading her answer. Good. No, Praveen, there is no rule. Okay, Satya has written about primary education. Tahira, just 1 minute. Irrespective of what the doubts are, Tahira, you can just rely on the actual result and the actual list which comes out. Don't get influenced by anybody. The results are always very transparent. So whatever somebody says on any channel should not matter. Okay. If you want, you will definitely get a good admission in a good college. Okay, Tanvi has written about time and tide. It's okay, Akib. You need time to develop your ideas, right? Just in one go, if you express, it's very difficult. Yeah, so Akib, you are talking about abstract ideas. Abstract topics need a lot of thought to be given when you have to write. What I'm telling you is practical daily life, social issues kind of situations. Things like tie, a rope, a kitchen utensil, thread and needles, etc. These are all abstract topics for which your learning and your knowledge should already be at par with something. Okay, Vansh, very good. Good, Tanvi, well attempted. Good, Satya. Amit, I think you've just written one line. If it's an article, I expect you to write more. Okay. Mansi, very well written. So most of you have written the topics very well. You can practice at least more of them after the class is over. Now that I could not allow you to write so many things. Yes, only good. You've written in pointers, Vansh, so it's not very excellent. I will definitely be very honest here. It's a wonderful topic when you talk about plastic ban. Is this enough? There are so many questions you can address. There are so many issues you can address. There are so many other things beyond plastic ban which need to be implemented to actually understand how these things are. Okay, so it's going to be really interesting. Okay, I'm having a look at all this. Think something with my video. Just give me a second. Yeah. Okay. Okay, Deepika. Good answer. Very good. So most of you have written good answers. I'm happy with the kind of style of writing you all are using. Just remember, whenever you write an article, it is very important to address the main issue, whatever the title is. Don't get distracted. Restrict yourself to the word limit. It's important that you learn to write within word limits because that's going to help you in your later chapters also, in your professional life, otherwise also. Okay. And last but not the least, please have a lot of information before you start reading. So a planning is suggested. You can write down things in the rough. You can make a mind map. You can organize some points in your towards the right of your paper or in a rough sheet, then start elaborating. Don't jump to start writing the article, especially when you're doing a practice at home. एग्जाम में हो सकता है आपके पास बहुत टाइम ना हो, आप बहुत ज्यादा not more than 5 to 7 minutes you can spend on a question because you have other answers also. That's perfectly okay. उसमें कुछ problem नहीं है. But yes, the idea is कि अगर आप थॉट दोगे, उसको कुछ टाइम दोगे सोचने में, तो आपका अटेम्प्ट अच्छा होगा एंड यू विल गेट फुल मार्क्स. ओके. Also very important is the use of good vocabulary. If you try to use good language, good vocabulary, you use good expressions, you use good proverbs and idioms, then definitely your style of writing comes out to be very unique. It comes out to be different. Okay? Clear? Santosh has written a long article on life in a big city, the urban tapestry of dreams and challenges. Very good. The vibrant melting pot of cultures. Awesome. When one can savor a wide array of cuisines, witness various festivities, Very well written. You've talked about transportation, you've talked about connectivity, you've talked about cost of living, you've talked about urban loneliness. So, very well written. It's really nice. You've written it so fast within like 2-3 minutes. I am really surprised. संतोष इतना जल्दी कैसे लिखा आपने? Yes, Chandana, I know everybody is writing. I won't be able to read everybody's article, but what I'm seeing is more or less all of you have written well. Please remember, articles have to be in the form of a paragraph, so you're not doing any pointers. No bullets allowed in articles. Paragraph ही लिखना है. Bullets and all that आपके rough part में हो सकते हैं. Finally नहीं ऐसे लिखना है. Oh, that's the reason, Santosh. No chat GPT is allowed because I was surprised within a couple of seconds you can't address so much, and it was very evident that it's going to be it was a very formal language. Chat GPT use करोगे अभी तो possible है, exam में तो phone allowed नहीं है, so no chat GPTs. Okay. Okay, Santosh. Thanks for being honest at least. Okay. So it's very important that you spend time in writing, you spend time on seeing things. Last but not the least, be a more participative student, try to practice many things on your own and be very attentive for your classes, refer to your study material. There is another session on article writing, which we will be having day after tomorrow. If there are any doubts, we'll clear the doubts first and then we'll continue with the presentation I have to share. Keep your doubts ready, keep studying, keep practicing. And thanks a lot for being so attentive in class. Thanks for all the attempts you have shared with me. I will definitely go through. And if there is a feedback, I'll share it with you in the next class. Okay. Hemlata, why don't you check the BOS portal? Why don't you have a look at the last year's papers and the study material and the mock test papers and the revision test papers? You can also have a look, right? So please do that. Thanks, Chanchal, for this wonderful article. And thank you so much. Janani has also written on the impact of social media. Very good. Okay. So on that note, I would like to end the class today. Thanks a lot for being so interactive. I appreciate all your comments and your questions. It was good to answer that. I've read most of the articles. I will read them, whatever is remaining. And keep writing, keep practicing, enjoy article writing, and see you day after with another fruitful session. Thank you so much, students.